I'm reminded by this merchant that came to us. And at the end of our conversation, he told me, I'm really appreciative that we were direct on answering him. He easily understood that we knew what we're doing. So it's very important to find a partner that knows what they're doing. Others would just give you a deck and everything, process, something like that. But you need to find a partner that really knows how it works.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Payo E-commerce Academy podcast, where we help you with your e-commerce journey. Here is our host, Althea.
Hi everyone and happy Friday. The work week has come to an end, which means I get to welcome you to another episode of the Payo E-commerce Academy podcast. I'm Coach Althea and I'm here to talk about anything and everything e-commerce with you. Today's topic is all about e-commerce efficiency, particularly when it comes to the logistics aspect of your business. So here today to share some important insights with us is Payo's Managing Director, June Cloma. Welcome to the Payo E-commerce Academy podcast, Sir June.
Thank you for inviting me, Althea.
Of course, of course. So we're happy to have you with us today, and I'm sure you have a lot to share with us, so let's get into it. So for starters, can you give us a brief overview of your role in Payo, specifically when it comes to the warehousing and fulfillment services?
Okay, so generally, I oversee everything that involves operations. This means the different business as usual operational matters, the adjustments, and also um, other special configurations of operational requirement that each and every one of our merchants need. So I design operations, I make sure that they're working, and I make sure that every kind of efficiency is observed in the different parts of, in the operations department, whether it will be warehousing, fulfillment, um, delivery. So every operational service that Payu has, I make sure that they are working very well and efficient.
I see. So if I understand correctly, it's basically like overseeing those aspects of e-commerce. So like you mentioned, warehousing, fulfillment, delivery, and making sure everything is in place, everything is working according to plan. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Because in operations, we have a saying that you really need to be micromanaging stuff because it could work at this particular hour, but the next hour there could be some problems.
Yeah.
So 24/7, I need to make sure that everything. It's like a heartbeat. I need to make sure that the pulse, the everything is circulating very well. If there are some issues that arise, I need to make sure that everyone is well prepared how to handle every kind of unusual or problematic situation. So we prepare for that. We make if you can call it drills or make any preparations. So yeah, everything to make sure that the operations are running smooth and according to plan.
Wow. Okay. So I think you're the perfect person to talk to about e-commerce efficiency. So I wanted to get a bit more into it, specifically why merchants choose to outsource their e-commerce solutions. So can you walk us through what the usual processes or solutions are that merchants actually outsource and why they do so?
Most of the operational aspects that you know they outsource to us are, of course, number one is the delivery or the last mile part. This means if they have parcels that they want to send, we pick it up from their warehouse or from their houses, and we make sure that it's being delivered properly, on time, efficiently. And the second aspect is the fulfillment part. So there are some merchants that doesn't worry about the operational aspect of fulfillment, so they outsource it to us. So we warehouse their inventories, we do proper inventory accounting, and of course when the orders come, we make sure that we pick them, we pack them, and we send to the right buyer. So, and the reason why the merchants are doing this is because if you are starting, or if you're big, you want to make sure that you're also efficient.
Right.
And it would make sense that you outsource this to a professional like Payo.
Mm.
You don't have to worry about overhead. You don't need to worry about warehousing stuff or invest in systems. So the merchant just needs to, make sure that the supplies are enough, in, and then they worry about selling. So we take care of the operational part.
So basically, it sounds like taking away the worries of the merchants in terms of like the nitty gritty of actually getting the packages to the customers
Exactly.
so that
Yeah.
they can focus more on their products and selling it, maybe marketing. So basically, we handle that part, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
all us. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the other benefit as well is because we consolidate with a lot of merchants, um, it becomes cheaper per unit, or because in logistics, if you consolidate stuff, it's like
Yeah.
economies of scale. The
Mhm.
lower the cost, and that is also applicable to us. On the merchant side, if they outsource the operational part to us, then it would also be cheaper on their part rather than them, building their whole operational organization.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can imagine actually. I think it's harder and more expensive, like you said. For example, I'm a merchant and then I have to be the one to buy a warehouse and then like get
exactly. Yeah.
manpower and then like talk to riders, get a delivery person for my
Yes.
products. So
Yes.
I do see the benefit in outsourcing basically these specific services.
Yep.
In terms of measuring the performance or how effective your e-commerce partners, say with Payo, how do we measure that to make sure that the merchants are happy and that they do see the value in the partnership?
Yeah, of course, we have specific KPIs for that. Every leg of the operational aspect is measured. We have metrics established, like the inbound, the outbound, the fulfillment part. Basically, there are two things that we measure.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is the lead time, or how fast we do the particular process,
Yeah.
because everyone wants to do it fast, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
so
all
how
and the
fast?
customers want to get their products like
Exactly.
ASAP.
And also the marketplaces like Shopee and Lazada,
Mm-hmm.
they have measurements that if you don't meet the fastness or the speed in fulfillment, you get penalties. So
Oh.
this is very important to us
Yeah.
that we help our merchants performance in the marketplaces really do well. So we make fast in fulfillment. The second aspect is quality. Quality means even if you're doing it fast, it needs to be correctly done,
Mm-hmm.
handled. So it needs to be packed properly, no errors in, like, the SKUs or the type of items or the color of the item being sent.
Yeah.
So this is quality. So yeah, we make sure that the lead times, the SLAs on speed and quality is being met.
And that's really, I think, what merchants want. Like, I mean, it sounds simple, but if you think about it, if you're catering to like hundreds of orders and like hundreds of merchants, it might get challenging at times. So,
Yes.
I would assume that sometimes, or let's say hypothetically, what does Payo do if, for example, there's like an order that was sent that it's not the right item, or like maybe it was sent to the wrong address. Like, what does Payo do as a company to kind of solve these or like address these challenges? And are there any systems in place that actually prevent them from happening in the first place?
Yeah, of course. So, well, we have people on the ground doing this, but we are being helped by the systems that we're using. We
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of technologies that help our people, uh, you know, avoid
Yeah.
mistakes. Um, and I just want to say that our performance in this aspect is in 99.9%. So
Wow.
we only commit zero point zero 0.01 errors, versus the volume. Whenever we commit errors, our commitment to our merchants is that we make sure that we correct the item. For
Mm-hmm.
example, because there are some margins of error in what we
Yeah.
do. If you are sending an item that is the wrong item to a particular person, we make sure that we replace them.
Yeah.
And the cost of doing this is we shoulder the cost of doing this.
Mhm.
So, in other words, we are also concerned about the merchant's service.
Yeah.
So, if we commit the mistake, we make sure that we correct them.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that's good, like accountability, especially
Yes,
because since we're the ones bringing the products to the customers, we kind of represent the merchants as well. Yeah.
exactly. Because we understand that although we are an outsourced partner,
Mhm.
but in the eyes of the customer, in the eyes of the buyer, they don't see Payo. They see the seller. Like
Yeah.
for example, you're a brand. When I receive something, I don't see it as Payo delivering. I see it as the brand delivering to me.
Exactly. So you did mention that we are helped by certain tech and like tools, right? Can you like kind of go into that, like the some of the technology that we use?
There are two types of technologies that we have in Payo. Number one is I'd like to call it as our platform, like
Mhm.
custom developed by our pool of developers. And then these are different systems. I couldn't mention, but there are a lot of them. But in general, what we have is also the warehousing management system. We have the delivery or the transport system.
Mhm.
We have the order management system, the tracing system, the track and trace, and everything. So we make sure that there is proper visibility when in the movement of the items, and this is being done by the system. And we also make sure that there is a good interface. Interface meaning if I am a merchant, it's easy for me to
Mm.
do to transact or to connect with the PI system, whether it's being done manually through the PI dashboard, meaning I
Yeah.
input all the orders,
Mhm.
or if I am integrated with my website or with my Shopee or Lazada stores. So this automation really is helping a lot in terms of efficiency and making sure that less errors are being committed by our operational guys.
Got it. And it sounds like we have technology in place almost for every, or if not, for every step of the way, basically, to ensure like we lessen mistakes as much as possible.
Yes, of course, because we do realize that Pi wants to scale up,
Mm-hmm.
and the only solution to do that is through automation and technology. We don't want to scale up by adding more and more people. That will be really adding more costs,
Yeah.
manpower. So the way to go is really automation in terms of scalability and in terms of reducing errors.
Yeah, I agree. So for our next question, I think we kind of touched on it a bit already earlier, but I still wanted to ask anyway, your thoughts on some of the benefits of outsourcing e-commerce solutions.
Outsourcing really is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of industries outsourcing several parts of their business operations to the experts. Because number one, when you outsource, you reduce the learning curve.
Yeah.
And number two, you reduce cost. So these things would make you start up, faster. If you've already started, you can tap on the best practices because the expert usually learn from they have all these best practices with
Yeah.
them, the systems and everything. So all in all, when you outsource, um, you're making your business really efficient
Mm-hmm.
and very effective. What I mean by those is efficiency is doing has to do with the costs, making sure that you maximize the resources that you have, and effective meaning the quality, the excellent of the service excellence.
Yeah.
I mean, so these two, I believe, are the two important benefits of outsourcing: efficiency and effectiveness.
Got it. And I think it's so important what you highlighted a while ago that outsourcing is a good thing because I think as a merchant, if you want to be successful, you can't get into this mentality that you have to do everything or like you can't necessarily ask for help. So I think the aspects that you can outsource, especially to experts, like which is what we want to do for merchants here in the Philippines, is giving them excellent service when it comes to logistics and fulfillment. I think
Yes.
that's really important. And yeah, I think with that, they'll be able to do way more with their time. They'll be able to potentially scale faster. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
absolutely. Because there are a lot of merchants out there or potential merchants that wanted to try online selling.
Mm-hmm.
So they also wanted to try how is it like, because if you see all over social media, even YouTube, online, you would see that a lot of people are earning a lot from online
Yeah,
selling.
yeah.
So the question is, how do I do that? Uh, you don't have to learn everything.
Mm.
You can just outsource. You just need to find a product, get the source, what you want to sell, and the in betweens you just outsource it. It's cheaper, and it's fast, and the quality of service is really good because this like Payo, their experience, they have all the technology.
Mm.
We have all the expertise. So
True.
yeah, it makes your life as an online seller easier.
All right. So with that, because there are a lot of a lot of partners that merchants can outsource, or a lot of partners that they can tap to help them with their e-commerce. From the perspective of someone who has been in this industry for quite some time now, what would you believe is the most important thing that merchants should remember in choosing their e-commerce partner?
Okay, so number one would be choose the right partner that puts premium on service excellence,
Mm.
because buyers, they're also very demanding, your online buyers. So you need to have a provider that really is aiming for good customer service, or in other words, providing
Yeah.
excellent service. And secondly, you need to find a provider that really feels your need, who helps you all the way. Um, because there are a lot of providers that sticks on the process. If you do some errors, then they say, "Oh, this is the process," something like that.
Mm.
The buyer is something like this and like that. So there are a lot of excuses.
Ah, yeah, I see.
But you need to find a partner that is really that understands your need. Kumbaga, in the Tagalog word is may malasakit sa business mo,
Yeah.
and it's hard to find providers that has that
Yeah.
character.
Like they actually care. It's
They
not just all about the
care. Yes.
numbers.
So when they ask you some what happened here, they give you advice, they help you, they make you understand, and most importantly, they answer you when you call
Yeah.
or you need help. So yeah, especially when you're just starting, you need to understand a lot of things.
Mhm.
So yeah, you need to have those two aspects from a provider: excellent service and how do you call it? Compassionate to what you have, who understands, who listens to you.
Yeah. I think that's so important. Someone who not only very well knows what your pain points are, but also understands that how to solve them, and like how to like kind of walk you through it, because
Yeah.
being an online merchant isn't easy as well.
Yeah.
Like it's very challenging, so I think a partner that understands that aspect of the business, that it's not all about numbers, is important. And like I think to add, especially since a lot of merchants, like for example, international merchants who want to tap into the local e-commerce industry, I think it would be important also for your partner to kind of have a really good understanding of the local landscape, because it's different from, let's say, e-commerce like abroad, right? So I think that's also something important. Someone who's like on the ground here, someone who understands like Filipino customers, Filipino
Yes.
buyers, and really helps merchants, like whether they're local or international, understand like what their buyers want and need.
I'm reminded by this merchant that came to us,
Mm-hmm.
asked lots of questions and everything. And then at the end of our conversation, he told me, I'm really appreciative that we were direct on answering him.
Yeah.
So he easily understood that we knew what we're doing. So it's very important to find a partner that knows what they're doing. Others will just give you a deck and everything, process, something like that. But you need to find a partner that really knows how it works.
Yeah. So I think we really delved into a lot of, what to actually look for in a good e-commerce solutions partner. Do you have any tips or best practices in terms of um, building a good relationship between, for example, I'm a merchant and I want to build a good relationship with my outsourced team. Like, what are some best tips and best practices for that on my end as a merchant and also like on the end of like my outsourcing partner?
From the point of view of the merchant, I think that best practice would be, as I mentioned earlier, find find an outsourcing partner that has experience,
Mm.
has the technology, has the passion for service excellence,
Yeah.
and of course, who has compassion with a lot of the pain points of the merchants, who listens to the merchant. In other words, find a partner that really wanted to partner with the merchant. So we've mentioned a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So they just take note of those and
Yeah.
they could just ask if they wanted to do good or due diligence effort. They you could just ask them, oh, show me your system, show me the process, what are your KPIs, things like that. In terms of the outsource partners
Yeah.
on their side, I think what they need to do as well is talk to their merchants clearly.
Mm.
Um,
Transparency.
Transparency. Some would promise you the moon and the stars, but when they operate, oh, it's like this and like that. So
Oh.
it's very important that from the get-go, they have a clear understanding of what are the limits. What
Yeah.
are the limits of the services? And both parties need to, make this very clear. Because when it comes to e-commerce operations, sky's the limit. Like
Yeah.
there are a lot of things that can be done, but nobody can do everything. Well, maybe a few can do uh, everything, but it will also involve a lot of costs.
Yeah, and I think it'll
And
affect the
yeah, it will
operations.
affect efficiency. It will affect the cost and operation. So yeah, understand the limit and the limitations, and make sure that they both understand how it works.
Yeah, because I think that's what it takes, right, to have a successful partnership. Like a lot of understanding on both ends.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's really a partnership.
Mm.
It's like when you have your partner, you need to understand the strengths and weaknesses
Yeah.
of the particular person or entity.
All right. So thank you, June. I think we got a really good grasp in terms of, first of all, characteristics or like traits that merchants should look for when it comes to looking for an outsourcing partner for their e-commerce solutions. And I think we also got a good grasp on why merchants should opt to outsource, why they should look for a partner they can like rely on and not try to do everything themselves. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you also, Ate, for inviting me, and I hope that I was able to provide some insights or share some things that would help, our audience.
Of
Thank you.
course, of course. I'm sure our listeners got a lot of insights from you. So before we end the podcast episode, is there anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, thank you. I would like to invite our audience to visit our website, payo.asia, learn our services, learn what we can do, and I'm sure you'll be helped a lot. And I'd also like to announce that we have a new mobile app that is going to be released soon.
It's so nice that you teased that, sir, because everyone at Pio is really excited for the launch of the mobile app. But that's all we can share for now. So keep an eye out for it. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, for more content on anything and everything e-commerce, don't forget to follow our Pio E-commerce Academy podcast. Bye!